From translation, ISV International Standard Version. This 100th day of the year. Today we are reading passages 2 Samuel 19 to 21. 2 Samuel chapter 19, verses 1 to 41. When Joab was told that the king was weeping over Absalom, Joab returned to the king at his quarters and said, "Why are you behaving this way? Absalom was your enemy, and you should have been glad that he's dead. Today I'm supposed to serve someone who hates his relatives. You have shamed all of us, the officers and soldiers who are with you, by showing such affection for your enemy." The victory that day was turned into mourning for all the people, because the people heard that day, "The king is grieving for his son." The people snuck into the city that day as if they were ashamed of sneaking into the city when they fled. The king covered his face and cried out loudly, "My son Absalom, Absalom, my son, my son." Then Joab went to the king and said, "Today you have shamed all your officers and soldiers who have just saved your life, and the lives of your sons and daughters, and your wives and concubines. You love those who hate you and hate those who love you. Today you have made it clear that your officers and soldiers mean nothing to you. I know that if Absalom were alive and all of us were dead today, you would be pleased. Get up. Get out of there and comfort your servants, because I swear by the Lord that if you don't go out there, not a single man will stay with you tonight. This will be worse for you than all the disaster that has come to you from your youth until now." Then the king got up and sat at the city gate. When they told Joab, "The king is sitting at the city gate," Joab went to the king at the city gate and bowed down before him with his face to the ground. Then Joab blessed the king and said, "Today your servant knows that I have found favor in your sight, my lord the king, because the king has done what his servant asked." The king said to Joab, "All right, go bring the young man Absalom back again." But the people of Israel were arguing among themselves in their tents. The people were saying, "The king has saved us from our enemies, and he has rescued us from the Philistines, but now he has fled from the land because of Absalom." King David sent messengers throughout Israel to say to them, "Why are you talking about bringing the king back to his palace? We are your relatives, and we are also from the tribe of Benjamin. Why should you be the last ones to speak about bringing back the king? You should speak to the Ammonite king and to his officials and say, 'Return my servant the king and come back.' If you don't, I will certainly march out against you. The dust will rise even to the heavens if I march out against you, and it will end when I've destroyed the land. Dismiss Amasa from being commander of the army and appoint me in his place. If he's not willing to come to you, I'll take him by force." So he won the support of all the people of Judah, and they sent word to the king, "Return, you and all your servants." Then the king returned, and he arrived at the Jordan. The men of Judah came to Gilgal to meet the king and escort him across the Jordan. Shimei son of Gera, a Benjaminite from Bahurim, hurried down with the men of Judah to meet King David. He had 1,000 Benjamites with him, including Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, and he rushed down to the Jordan before the king. They crossed the ford to bring the king's household across and to do whatever he thought was right. Shimei son of Gera fell prostrate before the king and said, "My lord the king, please forgive your servant. Don't hold me guilty of any sin or remember the wrong your servant did when my lord the king was leaving Jerusalem. The king should not take it to heart. Your servant knows that I have sinned, and so I have come today as the first of all the people of Joseph to meet my lord the king." Then Abishai son of Zeruiah said, "Shouldn't Shimei be put to death for this? He cursed the Lord's anointed." But David replied, "What have I to do with you, you sons of Zeruiah? Should anyone be put to death in Israel today? Don't I know today that I am king over Israel?" So David said to Shimei, "You won't die," and the king swore an oath to him. Then Mephibosheth son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, went down to meet the king. He had not taken care of his feet or trimmed his mustache or washed his clothes from the day the king left until the day he returned safely. When he came from Jerusalem to meet the king said to him, "Why did you go with me, Mephibosheth?" He replied, "My lord the king, my servant Ziba tricked me. Your servant said, 'I will saddle a donkey for myself so that I can ride on it and go with the king, because your servant is lame. Ziba slandered me to my lord the king, but my lord the king is like an angel of God. Do whatever you think is right. For all of my father's household was worthy of death before my lord the king, but you set your servant among those who eat at your table. What further right do I have to complain to the king? Your servant knows that you have shown great kindness to your servant, but why should your servant deserve even more, since my father's household was not worthy of it?" The king said to him, "Why do you say such things? I've decided that you and Ziba will share the land." Mephibosheth said to the king, "Let him take everything, since my lord the king has returned safely home." Barzillai the Gileadite came down from Rogelim to cross the Jordan with the king and to send him on his way from there. Now Barzillai was very old, 80 years old, and he had provided generously for the king's needs while he was at Mahanaim. The king said to Barzillai, "Cross over with me, and I will provide for you in Jerusalem." But Barzillai replied to the king, How many more years will I live that I should go up to Jerusalem with the king? I am today 80 years old. Can I tell the difference between good and bad? Can your servant taste what I eat or drink? Can I still listen to the sound of male and female singers? Why should your servant be an added burden to my lord the king? Your servant will only cross over the Jordan with a little of the king's servants. Why should my lord the king make such a great issue over a servant like me? Let your servant return, so that I may die in my own city near the tomb of my father and mother. But here is your servant Chimham. Let him cross over with my lord the king, and do for him whatever you think is good. The king replied, Chimham shall cross over with me, and I will do for him whatever is good in your sight. And whatever you ask me to do, I will do for you. All the people crossed the Jordan, and the king also crossed over. The king kissed Barzillai and blessed him, and Barzillai returned to his home. The king went on to Gilgal, and Chimham went with him. All the people of Judah brought the king across with them, and they also took him to his house. Meanwhile, all the Israelites came to the king and said to him, Why did our relatives, the men of Judah, steal the king away and bring the king and his household across the Jordan, together with all of David's men with him?